Gotta remember, but anyway.
Cheers, mate.
Okay, let me just take this off. Okay, so just to be clear, you want to talk about abortion? I mean, I want to talk about abortion, but do you want to talk about abortion?
Yeah, sure. What like or we could talk about normative ethics, either one. Like,
I'd rather go for abortion right now because I'm reading up on that right now to
yeah,
prepare
fair
for big
enough.
risk harm.
Okay. What's it called? So you want to defend a pro-life view or pro-choice view?
Well, I'm generally pro-life, but I'm gonna defend pro-choice right now. If you're generally pro-life as well,
Sure.
I can defend either.
Yeah. So just what's the motivation for thinking that like abortion is morally justified?
Oh, okay. So, well, just to be clear, we're both Gentologists, right?
Yeah.
Okay. So you do agree that you do have some kind of duty or obligation to defend yourself from negative experiences.
I have an obligation.
Before that, hold on. Are you like universally pro-life, or do you agree that in some cases it's fine to abort?
Um, I mean, I'm generally pro-life. I don't know if I'm universally pro-life. I think like maybe there's some cases that the mother may be harmed more, right? Like
Okay.
in cases of like the mother's life is in danger, like rape cases. I don't know if I don't know which one is harmed more. So I'm generally agnostic on those, leaning towards like it's morally justified.
All right. Okay. So you do you agree that generally speaking, it'd be fine, or it'd be fine to recognize protecting yourself from negative experiences or vastly negative experiences as some kind of duty, or just we have intuitions for that. Pretty much, we have intuitions to
Yeah, I agree.
protect
We
yourself.
have I mean, I don't think that's like universal, but I agree. Like in some cases, you have intuitions towards that.
Well, in like pretty much vast like majority of cases, we would prefer to just protect ourselves from some kind of negativity and virtue to letting the negativity get to us.
Yeah, insofar as
Get
like
mother away.
I'd say this insofar as you aren't harming something else that's like morally valuable. So take a case where what's it called? Where somebody like kills a child and is on the run from the police, right? I
Yeah.
wouldn't say they have a duty to run away from the police because they're trying like avoid negative experiences. I'd say like in fact you have a duty to earn up for your crimes, right? So I think it's
Uh-huh.
those sorts of principles only apply in cases where you're harming something with them or you're not harming
Okay.
something with more value.
Okay. So, and how would you? Okay, so you think we would harm a fetus in the case of an abortion?
Um, yeah, probably.
Okay. Okay. What's your kind of harm?
Some counterfactual comparative account of harm.
Okay. Hold on. I mean, we can talk about it as well. I generally would take to a similar account, but I lean more to the temporal comparative account of harm, which is pretty similar. But hold on.
Yeah, it's like a
Okay.
time relative interest account or something.
Well, that's what I was actually going to defend. That's more for the badness of death. That's not really an account of harm. I mean,
No,
it is. No, I actually believe.
yeah,
Yeah, I
it is
actually
an
believe
account of
that. Yeah.
harm. It's an account of harm too. But I
It,
just don't
it,
hold to like I don't get it. Whenever people say that like, they hold to time relative interest, I just don't get it. Do you think children are less morally valuable than their parents?
no.
But they have
And
like
well, because they hold it. Hold on. We would evaluate their moral value or how we morally consider them with other traits, like for example, I mean, sentience, human DNA, etc., etc. But if we had to choose between which one would let die, then
mhm.
generally speaking, we can recognize that a 18-year-old is going to be harmed by death vastly more,
Wh-
or harmed by something, like for
well, I
example, head
mean,
injuries or whatever the fuck more than the baby.
I just disagree. Like I don't have those intuitions. Like I'm gonna give you a whole bunch of examples. So whenever like you're in a burning building or something, right? Or whenever you're in like a house, and then there's these grown adults in like this school that's about to get shot up, and the priority there is to evacuate the children, right? And like the priority there, say like you're in a boat and the boat is sinking, the priority is to save the children, right? And save the younger people first. Even though these younger people are like less psychologically advanced compared to the parents. So under your view, if they were to die, right, then they would be harmed less than the parents. It's like, okay, well, why do you think in these cases we have intuitions towards doing something that is more harmful? And if so, like, what makes this case in which we're doing something that's more harmful? Like, why do I have intuitions towards like it's good to do this thing that's more harmful, but it's not good to do this thing that's more harmful in literally every other case? Like, I don't know how you'd explain
Okay.
that.
Well, in that case, given I grant the intuition for this case, although I do think that in some scenarios, I think actually a lot of people would still choose the adults over children. But in this case, I actually can agree that children would be chosen over the adult here. Given that, I think the intuition can be explained by the death of the child just harming people around them more than the death of the adult because they have a whole family around them caring for them.
So
They
do the
have
teachers though. Like,
what I would talk, right? No, adults have obviously people
yeah,
who
but
care about them.
wouldn't the adults
But
have
do
like
you think, Colin,
more?
do you think like a random friend of like a random adult is going to be harmed as much as like a mother and a fucking father who's bearing an infant right now? And that
Don't
infant is like burning alive in the building. Like, who do you think
wait,
is going to be
but
harmed by that?
don't the adults also have like friends and family? Like, look, I wouldn't
They do.
just gauge harm off of like direct emotional distress that's being caused to all of these people. You could also say that like, so these people who these adults, they have jobs too, right? And by
Yeah.
virtue of these jobs, they're also providing like benefit to society. And even
Uh-huh.
like despite all of this extra benefit that they're providing to society that the child does not give, right? Obviously, you'd say that like what's it called? The adult has more connections to more people probably, right? And it's still, people would still say that like, oh yeah, you should save the child, right? Like, I don't think I'd grant that like the child has less or worse connections with people, right? Like,
Wait. Okay, I have an issue with like the sort of pragmatic factor going in because I don't think. Sorry, my throat is like fucked up right now. Given we just evaluate how much any given adult is just going to contribute to society or bring any sort of value to me or you or anyone else around them. That sort of terminal value, I don't know if I can really grant that getting into, getting accounted for more consideration. I don't think those two things are the
don't you
same. That's like
think
saying, okay, that's like saying I invest into stock. I invest into stock because, I can exponentially expand my wealth when I, invest properly. Just because I value that sort of terminal potential of or terminal value of the potential, to invest into stock doesn't mean I morally value the stock now.
yeah, no,
So
no,
I
no. I
don't.
understand that. Like, I think I obviously know there's a distinction between the store value and that, but I'm just saying, like, look, okay, generally these sorts of attitudes or these sorts of like jobs that these people are doing generally trend towards being more beneficial towards society than not, right? So take
Yes.
the person who like invests into stock, for example, right? Like, okay, well, obviously their taxes are going into like the government. The government's obviously typically they're working towards the good of society as a whole, right? So you would say that these sorts of commitments that they're putting in towards society are actually morally considerable, right? Like,
Well, I'm not sure about that. Yeah, I'm
like
not sure if I can just grant any sort of pragmaticism being considered in the
But it
ethics.
wouldn't just be pragmaticism. It would just be like, okay, well, these sorts of benefits they provide to society directly improve the lives of like conscious people, right, or sentient people who do have more
That's terminal
value,
value then.
right? So actually, no,
Well,
I'll explain it like this: adults just have more
yeah.
instrumental value, right? Or like under this sort of view, adults have more instrumental value, right? Because obviously, like the sort of actions that they're doing, right, they end up what's it called, like okay, Shiki is trolling, but like the sort of actions that they're doing, generally they trend towards like benefiting society, right? So you'd say that they do have more instrumental value, right?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Yeah, but like, okay, yeah, at least that's assuming the time relative interest account, right? So like, if we assume that account, then we'd have to say that these adults who have more value or are harmed more and also have more like the same intrinsic value and more instrumental value, right, we still choose to sacrifice their lives needlessly, and we have been doing this for like hundreds of years. Like, and I just don't understand how the time relative interest account of harm would actually
Um,
explain the fact that, or these sort of moral trends that we have, right? Like, I don't know how they'd explain that typically.
Hold on one sec. I just want to clarify something. Oof. Okay. I mean, just to be clear, I want to get back to. I mean, I can grant that obviously, like, a regular adult is going to have just significantly more instrumental value than like a regular kid, and they'd be harmed more by death.
Yeah,
given
yeah.
the
No,
fact.
I
And
don't think they're harmed more by death is the issue. Like,
I mean, yeah, we just explained the account. Like I'm saying, explaining my position.
oh, okay, yeah, go ahead.
Or giving your response. Okay, yeah, they'd be harmed more by death. And they do have presumably relative or equal, moral consideration or right to life. It's just that just boils down to the response I gave prior, which I don't think you gave a response for yet, or I asked you a question. I think do you think like a random I can grant that, like I already said, a random adult is just going to have way more people who not way more people, but at least a little bit more people who care about that than like a regular fucking infant. Because a regular infant doesn't have friends. A regular infant doesn't have like a dog or whatever. I mean, obviously that's not a person, but you know what I mean. They have their family, like maybe their grandparents, and that's about it. But that just like that whole conversation doesn't just stop there. It stops at whether or not like the random friend you met at a bar who will like cry like at one tear when you die in a painful death will be harmed the same way, and like the accumulation of those people will be harmed the same way as your fucking father, mom, or father and mother. How they will be harmed when you burn down like painfully. In the
Yeah, I mean, don't you think that these adults also they have like parents who have the similar or actually the same sorts of connections with them? In fact, I'd argue that under a time relative interest account, you'd have to commit yourself to the view that these like parents that or these parents of these like adults they've had longer time to connect with their children. They have a longer time to form emotional bonds with their children, right? Yet still,
I'm not sure that's how attachment works.
What'd you say? Do you not think? Do you not think that like over time, whenever like over time through spending time with your children, you become fonder of them, like you like them more?
I mean,
you've spent longer time with them. You've shared more memories with them,
I'm not sure if the question. I'm not sure if the question of whether or not I favor someone more or less is the same question as whether or not I'm attached to someone. Like I can be attached to my dad, and that's what causes me to experience pain when he dies. But I can also like dislike him. My dad can beat, and this happens all the time. My dad beats the fuck out of me. Not me, but you get it. Like he beats the fuck out of me. And
who else could he be beating?
Like the guy still dies, and I still fucking cry at his funeral because I still feel like natural attachment that I formed through infancy. This is well documented psychology. Like I feel like psychology and favoritism would be the same thing here.
So do you think that I just want to get clear. Do you think the thing that explains why we're willing to sacrifice these adults, even though individually they are quote unquote more harmed by death, is because their parents are more fond of them compared to like children?
No, I just said that's something which could possibly explain the intuition there.
Yeah, no, it's just like I just haven't seen any empirical evidence, right, that would hint towards like your parents becoming less fond of you as you grow older, less attached to you.
It's not that. It's just first of all, as you grow older, a lot of people's parents die. First of all, let's just start that.
Yeah, I'm talking about middle-aged people, right? Like middle-aged people.
Yeah, middle-aged people. Most middle-aged people at least have like all of their grandparents dead. First of all, at least most of their grandparents dead.
Okay.
That's really less people who really care about you, not your fucking like pub buddies. What the fuck?
Yeah. Okay.
Now the parents in a lot of cases also dead in a lot of cases. So.
I mean, I don't. It's like if we assume that these people's parents die, which I'm not even sure I'd grant that. Like, these teachers they already have dead parents, and I'm not even sure that's something we take into account whenever we're doing like our moral calculus. And let's say I have a child and I have an adult on a sinking ship, right? And so I asked you, which one would you pick, right? Or which one do you think, like, or which one would you pick? Like most people would say, oh yeah, I picked the child, right? And the reason being would be because, they have a whole future ahead of them. And not because, their parents have like, blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah, this guy's parents are still alive. That guy's parents are still alive. Because if you imagine a situation where, like, there's at least one orphan child, right, in those, in those school shootings, one orphan child who doesn't have their biological parents who are still alive. And we would still be willing to sacrifice the adults to save the child, right? Like, yeah, so it's like obviously it just doesn't seem as if the reason why that there's some form of connection is.
I just said yes. I just said yes, but can you repeat the hypothetical? Because I was looking right
Just
into
lad.
that.
Okay, so
That's hypothetical.
there's at least one orphan child, right, in these schools,
Yeah,
right, whose
yeah.
like parents are not alive. So, do you think that because that child is orphaned and they no longer have like an adult, why is this nigger talking? Okay, but like they like
Yes.
don't have biological parents who can share the same sort of connections with them. Do you think that then they would be morally valued less than the adults who do have that? Like,
Oof. Not morally valued less, but would have an easier time killing them. Which is kind of what this whole case boils down to. Under
yeah,
the
I don't know
on
if
the
what's
say
it
that
called. Wait,
this.
okay.
Sorry.
You think that like
Yeah, it's
like
not.
wait, I just
Yeah,
want to get clear. You why are these people yelling at my door? Wait, give me a second.
you're good. Very good faith, very linear, Hassan. Very linear.
Yeah, okay. But do you think like the teachers, right, who are like rushing to rush these kids out, you think these teachers individually they are all being harmed more compared to the child that orphan child?
No, because they have other, they have the teachers. Obviously not. Like obviously their count under their count, the teachers would be harmed more.
Yeah, okay. Do you not think we have a moral duty to minimize harm?
Oof. Yeah, sure, yeah.
Okay, so are we doing something immoral when we save like an orphan children over adults?
Uh, I mean, depending on the situation here.
So like when
Uh,
a teacher's like there's a school shooting going on and a teacher rushes in and like the teacher's like, oh my god, everyone get out, and she looks in the corner, she sees the orphan kid, his name's Rezhan, right, and then she rushes him out of the building and takes a bullet in the back for him. You'd say that she did something morally wrong, right? Like,
Poof. No, I don't, no. Hold on. She attempted to minimize harm. She didn't know that she died. If she attempted suicide to save the child, I think everyone would say that that's noble. But whether or not that's right or wrong, that's a whole different conversation. I don't know if
well,
that's right
I
or wrong.
mean, well, she clearly isn't minimizing. Okay, look, she clearly isn't minimizing harm under your view. If she like puts herself in harm's way to save somebody who's harmed less by death, right? Like, if I'm in a life or death situation, right, or if me and two, three other people are in life or death situations, I'm harmed infinitely more than they are, right? If I were to die, me putting myself in any sort of situation in which I could die to preserve their life, I'm not minimizing harm, right? Instead, I'm trying to like save them, but I'm not minimizing harm in the slightest, right? In fact, I'm actively like putting myself in this sort of situation where like harm may not be minimized.
Wait, hold on. Are you saying that because she's actually putting herself in danger?
Yeah, she's actively putting herself in danger, right?
No, but that doesn't lead you. Hold on, that doesn't lead you to the conclusion that it maximizes or doesn't let you to minimize harm. It's just something which would be riskier in minimizing harm. So obviously, if you have like a fucking safety, like a fucking I don't know, like a fire department trying to save the child from the school shooter, or like a police department trying to save the child from the school shooter, that's something which would minimize it, more because
Harm,
you
yeah,
don't
even though
have.
it puts himself in danger. Yeah, I mean, well, okay, do you not think we have what's it called, a moral duty to not willingly put ourselves in harm's way?
No, actually no. I mean, generally yes. Depending on the situation though, because if you have actually something to gain from it, like, or if you have
You
something
have
more
more
than
things with.
valuable at the other end of the equation, like for example the child's life, then if you can actually get away with potentially causing risk to yourself to actually get harmed and
Yeah,
get
but
killed or
I would
whatever,
say like in the case
that's
of
something which would actually be do more. Sorry, what's up?
I mean, I would say that in the case of like what's it called, a mother or like a teacher running out, or the example you like I just gave, a teacher running out to save like this orphan child, right? She's like willingly putting herself in harm's way, and in fact, you would agree under your view, you'd have to agree that she has more things to lose than she has to gain in this situation because she could die, right? And also called by virtue of her dying, she would also be causing more harm compared to if she just abandoned the child and let them die, right? So
Well,
you'd
that'd be
have.
more similar to a mission. That'd be more similar to a mission. It's like okay, letting someone die and like killing someone is not the same thing. It's like me going out and risking me dying, quote unquote, for something valuable at the other end of the equation. It's not like literally just plain and simple. Okay, I'm just fucking walking across a fucking mile high bridge that's like 1 centimeter in width, like, and I'm just like tippy-toeing around it. Like, obviously not like that. I'm trying to save a child here.
Yeah.
So it's not like if you just risk yourself getting harmed, that's not. I don't feel like that would be wrong here by any chance. Like, you're never going to be able to reduce down to any sort of intuition. That's like super intuitive to say.
Yeah, no.
That's
Okay,
not what that context.
the reason why I'm trying to say like it's super unintuitive is because like I'm saying like look, your view, I think at least under your view, it would seem as if that it points us towards like look, if we have some moral duty to avoid harm, right? Unless there's any sort of greater benefit to be gained from it, right? I think like under your view at least, you'd have to say that in the case of a mother or in the case of a teacher running out to save this child in like a burning building or something, right? She has more things to lose than she does to gain because she could lose her own life, she could lose the lives of like, or she could harm all of these other people around her who value her, right? At least this is all assuming your view, just to get clear, right? But like all of that, right? You'd have to say she has all of this to lose. So people doing altruistic actions towards children in almost every single sort of situation would be immoral, right? And I don't think people have intuitions towards that. And in fact, I think people generally tend to have intuitions towards prioritizing children over adults, right? Like, yes,
Like, I feel like we talked about.
yeah, I think we've talked about
this
this enough, yeah.
But hold on. Well, I just want to get something else clear before I present another problem. When you say like people don't really do their moral calculus like that, I remember you said that, right?
Like in what sort of context? I forgot.
It would be like you said, oh, what, this child's parents and this adult's parents are harmed or affected by someone's death like that, and that's why we choose to kill someone and not kill someone. People don't really do their moral calculus like that. I think that's the context.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I don't think whenever I save somebody, right, or whenever I'm like running to like preserve somebody's life or like seeing if I should like let them die, right? I don't think I'm taking into account other people. So in the case of a child, I don't think I'm saying to myself, oh my God, this child's parents, right? This guy's parents love him, right? Because obviously, I think if I imagined a situation where this child didn't have parents who love him, right, and everyone around him hated him, I would still have intuitions towards saving him. So I think typically we look towards properties.
Yeah.
I mean, like, do you think if there was like, so imagine you were a bully or Rizwan was a bully when he was younger, right? Like, I don't know how you'd bully anyone.
Okay, just to be clear, obviously you have like an intuition to saving him, but it's not the same as saving him over the adult.
Yeah. No, I'm saying like, okay, I don't think people like say if I'm rushing into like, or say like I'm trying to save a group of people and I look around me and I see a child and I see an adult, right? I'm pretty sure even the adult would say go save the child because the child like has a future ahead of him. I don't think typically was pointing out properties that like or relational properties that they have rather than just properties they have intrinsically. If you get what I mean.
So I'll switch to now. Can you repeat that?
Yeah, so I was saying like I don't think we're typically looking at relational properties that these people have in the sense that I don't think we're looking at properties that these people have, right, in context of other people, right? So like your relationship with other people. I think we're looking at least whenever we're trying to see who we would save over the other one. I think like we're typically just looking at properties that these people have intrinsically. That's why like people say, oh my God, he had a whole life ahead of him, da 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 da. That's why like phrases like those exist, right? Because we're looking at properties within them that they have to determine how sad or how angry we should be at their death, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Wait, but that would just aid us into saying, okay, we're just more particularly inclined to saving someone who would be, whose people are connected to them. Like for example, in the child's case, like their mother, their father, whatever, their grandparents. In this case, all else being equal, the people who no, obviously it's not equal here, but you get it. Obviously the people who are harmed more in the case where the people around them are harmed more, it would be just less preferable to kill them because people are harmed more around them. That just like that sort of intuition. Obviously, like I don't think anyone consciously thinks about like who is more or less harmed in the case of like who you say. But
I mean, I think we do.
Just explains how like we have like a bunch of like particularist intuitions. Like for example, me saving my mother over another woman, even though they're equally more considered. Our particularism towards children could be aided, in this case, in this sort of instance as well where people around them are just fine. So that's compatible with equal moral consideration.
I mean, I think like in the case of like if you think the reason why we typically have intuitions towards like saving my mother over somebody else, right? Or the reason why we say that this like my mother has more moral consideration is generally just due to the fact that we have like higher sort of how do I explain this? We have more evidence that our mother like has a positive impact upon her life, right? Compared to all of these other people. I hope you wouldn't disagree with that, right? Like
Well,
at
I
least
mean,
typically in general cases, right? If your mother was like super abusive or something and she like trying to strangle you every single time she saw you, I don't know if we'd have intuitions towards like saving her over anyone else, right?
I mean, it just reduces down though. Like it goes back to like the attachment thing I was talking about. I mean, yeah, if you have like secure attachment with your mother, then yeah, obviously, I
Yeah,
think
but
it boils down to her protection for you, or
yeah,
whatever
I
else you
just
kind of.
don't think what's it called? I just don't think that that in
But that's not the meat and potatoes though. The meat and
yeah,
potatoes would be
I'll just try and
the
explain it like this. I just don't think that like what's it called? We have many particularist intuitions. I think typically people have intuitions that follow along certain sort of standards or certain sort of general trends.
well, okay, just to be clear. Uh, Oof. I mean, yeah, obviously I agree with that, but it's just like particularism would just show up like very very clearly in cases like this where two things which seemingly should be equally morally considered are given
I
more favorable judgments.
I mean,
And that would be explained rather by some kind of intuition such as I like the fact that kids look cuter or whatever the fuck else. I like the fact that they are if I save a child, I wouldn't actually harm someone around the child. So all those little favorites judgments, all that boil down to me choosing the kid, not like something deep
I don't I
defensive.
don't think
Even though the adults would be harmed more.
yeah, the issue is I don't think specifically like maybe I missed something in what you said, but I don't think specifically we have like particularist intuitions. I think typically we have like even in the cases of your mother, right, or like say these two things should have equal moral value, da 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 da, right, and I still choose one over the others. Like I don't think from the perspective at least from of the person who's making the decision that these two things have equal moral value, right? Like the example you gave me, like tell me if I missed something once I'm done. The example you gave
Well,
me,
repeat that again, like the last
yeah.
point.
So I don't think in these
For
cases where
morality.
you say that like, oh yeah, these two things have equal moral consideration, yeah, we still choose one over the other. It's like I don't think from the perspective of the person who's choosing it, those two people have like equal moral consideration. So take your mother and somebody else, right? This just boils down to the example you spoke to me about earlier, right? Like your mother and somebody
Yeah.
else. We have stronger inductive cases to say that like your mother generally provides you more benefit or minimizes harm for you and like people around her more than these other people, right? So we would
Yeah.
typically prioritize her life over anyone else's, right? But like if we were put in some scenario where we actually knew for certain that okay, well, both of these guys actually commit like or have like equal benefits onto society, both of them, right? Like I don't know if we'd have intuitions towards picking your mom over that sort of person, right? Like,
Wait, but I don't think your attachment to your mom boils down to her impact on society. Is more of
yeah, no,
your
not pure
attachment
impact
that
on
was
society. Like maybe some emotional attachment that's built off of her
yeah,
behavior
exactly.
towards you, right? I
Yeah.
don't think, yeah, but it's like okay, well, do you not think behaving like kindly or something or behaving favorably towards other people is a good thing?
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
so like, so don't you
to be
think?
honest,
I just want
yeah,
to finish this first. So, like, from the
yeah.
perspective of the mother, Ali, or from the perspective of the person who's choosing, your mother is fulfilling her moral duties more than this other person is, right? You have you have
I
stronger
mean,
evidence for that than the alternative. So.
to your knowledge, yes, but that doesn't that doesn't grant you moral consideration or more moral consideration.
I mean, it would from the perspective of the person who's making the decision. Like,
That's what particularism. That's what particularism is.
no, particularism. Like, correct me if I'm wrong. Particularism is just saying that we do not commit to any specific one moral standard or moral code.
Well, yeah, that would be yeah, exactly right. So,
But wait, but in
well,
this situation, you wouldn't be like you would it wouldn't be as if you aren't picking between any one moral standard or moral code. It would be like, okay, I have this moral code. This moral code is that like people should fulfill their moral duties, right? But I'm just like say like so, it's revealed that your mother and this other woman they actually are fulfilling their moral duties equally. It's like okay, well I was just wrong about who is fulfilling their moral duties more. It wouldn't be like you being a particularist. You just be you being
Or
wrong.
just the fact that you seem to favor someone because of the fact that they did something that you favor personally.
What'd you say?
That's the particularism. Okay, that just to say that you seem to favor someone who seems to be in line with your values more, or your preferences more than the other agent there or the other actor there.
I mean, well, wait, particularism, at least under how you define it, is like they behave in a way which aligns with your preferences more.
Well, now, no, I feel like that can just be reduced down to morality in general, depending on
Yeah,
someone.
yeah,
But
no, like I'm
I'm just
just
saying,
not a realist.
it's literally moral judgments would be made based off like the specific context of each situation. The context there would be simply defined by whatever is most like seems more favorable to you. Even though, generally speaking, if you just present me like, for example, a dog and a cat, I think I already like presented this example to you before. Like you present to me a cat and a dog on like a different day, when you don't really, do a fucking dilemma with it. Like you don't put them both on like a trolley and say, okay, fucking flip the switch.
Yeah, I
You don't
mean,
do that. I like the cat and the dog equally, but if you put them together, I would say, okay, I like the cat more, so I'd save it. But it doesn't mean that I morally value it more.
I don't know. It's like I think probably in those sorts of situations where you like have a cat and a dog in front of you, right? And I ask you pick one between the two of them. I'd probably say that people's like intuitions or their decision making is heavily influenced by okay, I don't know why these people are yelling, but it's like heavily influenced at least by some background intuitions you have that maybe you aren't aware of. So, for example, cat and a dog example, people generally over time, at least within their like evolution, we've evolved towards staying around dogs. We've evolved towards dogs being more beneficial. So that might be the explanation as to why we have those sorts of like value distinctions. It wouldn't just be oh well, I don't have a set standard, right? Da 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 da. I pick them arbitrarily. It would just be well, I have some background intuitions. These background intuitions align to this specific standard, right? And this standard is what's influencing.
Well, the hypothetical was, I'm not sure if you even deem the hypothetical plausible, but I think it's at the very least plausible that there's people out there, there's a bunch of people out there at the very least in West society. Like I know, like Eastern society, especially like in like more Asian countries, like those questions are a little bit more intricate. But in West society at least, a lot of people, I'm not sure, like maybe even most people, they wouldn't really have like at the very least in the hypothetical, they would generally value these two things equally. Like I said, on a different day, they wouldn't really,
Yeah, I don't know if that's the case for most people.
Choose to feed a dog over a cat. Like it's something which they just,
yeah.
If you put a dilemma in front of them, they would choose the thing they like more.
Yeah, I know they choose the thing they like more, but then I think the reasons why they like it more, do you not think those are the things that like give it more value? So say I like you more compared to Jeffrey Dahmer because you've done less immoral acts than Jeffrey Dahmer has. So in the same way,
well, in that case, you can't actually have the ontologist ethics, though, no? Because you'd say, okay, I seem to value, I don't seem to value based on my overall duties, but I seem to value based on
no. Like you could say you value both of them, right? But then if I had to like, it's like your analogy says, right? Like okay, well, I like both of them, I value both of them, right? Imagine you morally value both of them, but if you made me choose one over the other, I choose the one which like has fulfilled their moral duties more than the other one, right? Like at least
not really, no.
I mean, do you know
cats and dogs generally, like obviously they can do, like I think there are agents and like to some degree.
No, I mean like okay, for example,
we wouldn't be able to boil them down to agents like
I know what you mean. I'm saying like okay, for example, we have a moral duty to say surround ourselves with people who allow us to fulfill our other moral duties like best, right? So say we have a moral duty to maximize positive experiences, right? Imagine some world, right? Because I don't know the exact statistics. So imagine some world where like dogs produce way more like positive experiences compared to cats, right? Like we are fulfilling our moral duty to maximize positive experiences by choosing like, or we're fulfilling it to a greater extent by choosing dogs more than cats, right? So even though both of them fulfill a moral duty, right? Or like at least we'd be the ones fulfilling a moral duty, not them, right? But like we'd be fulfilling it to a greater extent if we picked one more than the other. I don't know how exactly to word that, but yeah.
But I just want to be clear on something. Do you think it's impossible to value something equally to another thing?
Oh no, I don't think it's impossible now.
Okay, wait. So in those cases where you value something equally to another thing, if you put those two things in sort of like a dilemma, like a trolley problem or anything else you can think of, how do you think that would go?
Um, Literally, I just think the decision would be like random, right? I think like there would still be some standard, but both of them fulfill the standard equally. So like the decision would be random. I don't think like
If there's if
if
there's some
wait,
kind of
it's
standard,
like look, if you value them equally, and I put you in a moral dilemma, right? Not like okay, well, which one would you choose based off of like some arbitrary standard? I'm putting you in a moral dilemma, meaning like you have to choose one based off of like which one morally appeals to you more or less, right? It's like well, the decision would be completely random, right? Like I don't.
okay. So you can't seem okay. So you can like seem to actually explain like this thing with any actual standard. You're just saying it's random. Well, if I can't explain it with some kind of more cognitive precedence, then my stance just seems more plausible based on these.
Wouldn't that just be God of the gaps, though? Like you're saying, oh well, what's it called? I can explain what's it called? There's this unexplained phenomena. Well, I can like just offer any explanation, but it just doesn't seem as if like if like these explanations aren't adequate, then I don't think it would lend credence towards either view. So
Well, if we just choose things like on an everyday basis based on fucking like if we just choose things on an everyday basis based on things we like I choose a shirt over another shirt based on something I like. At the very least, it seems plausible to me that I would choose something I like more over two equally morally considered things. Now, you could say that it doesn't seem like they're equally morally valid to any given actor, but seeming like something and it truly being the case is kind of like different. Like you
yeah, I
said,
know that. I'm just saying like what's it called? I'll just say this because like I need to go do the dishes in a second, but I think most of the time when we aren't dealing with things that are morally valuable, we pick the things that we like more. Because we have, I would say this, we have a moral duty to do what we like if it isn't harming another thing with more value. I hope you'd agree with that, right? So we'd be still fulfilling some
our
like.
duty to jerk off, guys. Let's go.
I mean, that's if you don't think that like what's it called? If you don't think it does harm to you in the future, and like obviously, being a serial gooner like does harm you, right? That's why you need to do it 8 times a day to build resistance. So.
Wait, hold on. Okay, Loki, I want to skip past all this and actually present my actual like my big.
Bro, I need to go in a second, so we need to do it quickly.
Okay, I mean I can't do it quickly though. Like,
just hit me with it, bro. Hit me.
Ping me in this group chat when you're done. Like whenever you want to.
I'm not even sure I'd want to keep debating once I'm back. Like,
bro, it's literally like another contention, and that's it. I can like we can also talk about like theories of harm. I have like a couple cases against the counterfeit. Actually, come on. But
I just want to hear the like a motivation for what's it called for pro-choice really quickly, and then I'll give my refutation. Then yeah.
Well, it is simply that. By the way, pro-choice specifically, I feel like I should have specified this before, but the pro-choice position I'm defending specifically is just going to be a pro-sentience position. I feel like it just more easily explained under my account. Presents less issues to me. So yeah, given that we already seem to value or we need to value the choice of the mother, to do whatever the fuck she wants. Obviously, we have we need to have that kind of like sort of free will, even though. Okay, that can boil down into a different conversation, but you get it. Like we value the choice of the mother, and you don't actually seem to harm anything. And given my account of harm, you wouldn't actually seem to harm the fetus. Then, at least prima facie, it would not be morally wrong to abort.
I mean, I'd say this right, Mosako, because this just I already disagree with like you being unable to harm the fetus, but I'll say this: imagine a drunk like a mother who's pregnant, and then she constantly keeps drinking while she's pregnant. She intends to like carry the baby to term. She's constantly keeps drinking until the fetus dies in her womb. Do you think she did something morally wrong there?
I mean, is it like post sentence or pre sentence?
She intends, like, imagine it's in the first weeks, but she intends to carry it to term. She like.
Intends to. I mean. Oh, that's no. I don't think she did anything wrong there. To be honest, no.
So, like, you're fine with like mothers mass killing their fetuses by giving them fetal alcohol syndrome.
Yes, yes. Hold on. Are you saying the baby's scared to term or no?
No. They aren't carried to term, right? So, like, did she do something morally wrong?
If they're not carried to term,
Yeah.
then no,
Okay.
because
We do.
nothing is harmed there. Literally, nothing is wrong.
Okay.
Nothing is harmed. But
So.
fetal alcohol syndrome, uh, shouldn't that be like? Isn't that just post birth? That's
No,
post
no,
natal, right?
no. Like, what's it called? I'm pretty sure it causes complications while the fetus is in the womb, which may cause you to have a miscarriage, right? But imagine another case where, like, because obviously I don't think most people are fine with mothers giving their babies fetal
I
alcohol
mean,
syndrome. But like,
well, I
I'll
mean, if
just
most
give you
people are
another
fine with
case. Maybe this case
wait,
is
hold on,
like
just wait a second. But yeah, if like given that really half of the population is fine with abortions, at least in America at least, I think it's like 46, 44, something
Yeah,
like
but
that.
have most of these people is like
Yeah.
this is the sort of issue I have with these statistics. Like, have most of these people actually seriously engaged with the hypothetical in their life? Like obviously,
No, but that no.
yeah,
But I'm saying if we just seem to have like all these people like at least agreeing that abortion at a surface, at a
yeah. It's
surface
like
look
if I
is
don't
not
look
normal.
any deeper
And this
into
is
the
like
topic,
this
like
motherly abortion, just because that's what it is. You're just aborting the baby before a doctor aborts it. You're just aborting with alcohol. Then that shouldn't be really wrong. It's vile, it's disgusting, but it's not wrong.
I mean, it's like, look, I think, like, typically most people, right? Actually, no. I'll give you this other analogy, then I'll like explain my contention. So, imagine a case where I like sneak into your house, right? And you know
Shut
what's
the
good?
fuck up!
Cheers, mate. But imagine like some case where I sneak into your house and I see your wife, she's pregnant, right? And I have like Dio type power, so I know that she's going to like she wants a baby, right? So I go and I just punch her in the stomach, right? Till the fetus dies in her womb. And then I like lace you with anesthetic so you and your wife forget that you ever wanted a baby in the first place. Right. Do you think I did something wrong?
Whew. No, not to the fetus. No.
Yeah, okay. It's like, look, this the sort of issue I have with that is like even people who are like pro-choice, right? Like, I know I've heard Destiny talk about this once at least. If you take him to be a good example, but people who are pro-choice typically they'd say that you are doing something wrong because you'd be harming, like what's it called? You'd be harming something which is on trajectory to actually gain a human conscious experience, right? So
If they agree with that, then they just be pro life.
I mean, like, no, the issue is like, okay, some of these people are like consequentialists, right? Like, oh yeah, well, the mother,
Yeah.
yeah, da da da. It's like, but I just don't like. Obviously, there's the main contention that I just don't grant your account of harm, and then the other one is just like, I think people would still consider cases like if I saw a coma patient and I decided to obliterate every inch of their body, right? Before I decided to obliterate them and kill them before they were able to regain sentience. Do you think that'd be wrong?
Yeah, sure. I
Yeah,
mean, given that,
yeah,
like,
okay.
obviously
This just like
it was
another
just a kind of
arbitrariness issue. Like, okay,
you'd be harming their future time relative interest account as well.
the
So
future.
given that they wake up, obviously, like the action itself didn't hurt them or anything, but they'd still be capable because I mean, obviously they were sentient before. They'd still be capable of having some kind of positive experience.
Yeah, do you not think? Wait, when you say capable, there, what do you mean? Like,
I just mean that you are able to actually bear any sort of experience there.
you're able to like. Do you just
Like
mean?
able meaning that when you wake up or your body was already shown the capability to bear experience, like it's sentient.
Wait, okay, but okay. I asked you what capable meant. Then you said you are able to. Then I asked
Oh my
you.
god. Okay, all right.
Yeah.
By the way, under the account, like I'm defending a slightly modified account. The necessary like it's very similar to official account's account. It's just the difference there is you're not valuing the amount of future loss. You're valuing the worth of future loss. So given that the worth of future loss is little, it should be presumably not at the least prima facie morally wrong or seriously morally wrong to kill someone or harm someone. In contrary to someone who has more worth in their future. Now,
Wait. What do you
I'm saying
mean
this
that they
because
have more
I'm saying
worth
this
in their?
because I'm saying this because hold on.
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying this because sentience under this account, sentience would actually be a sufficient condition for you to be harmed by death. It just
the sufficient condition to be harmed by death is what? Wait, what's
sentience
this?
Sentience there would be a sufficient condition for you to be harmed by death.
Yeah, no, I'm saying like, okay, what's the okay? So the sufficient condition to be harmed by death is sentience, right? And by sentience, what do you mean?
The ability to bear past, present, and future subjective experience.
The ability to bear past, present, and future. Wait, yeah, I'm confused. When you say like ability or able, like all of those words.
Bro, I feel like you just like you have like, bro. How do you even explain this? It's like a thing is like.
No, okay.
Doesn't that just reduce down to a primitive? Like I don't even know how to explain it.
No, because look, when you say it is able to, right? I assume you just mean it is the type of being which has this potential that it can actualize, right? Like.
I mean. I don't know, maybe.
And if you're saying that, then the fetus also has that like property, right?
Wait, no, that's different. Because I don't feel like the fetus is that just depends on the personal identity.
No. Look, because it's like, okay, is there any other type of being which, if left to develop, right, with nutrients on its own, right, without like involving any other separate entity, would turn into a person?
Turn into. I mean, you can develop a person inside of it. That's just not the kind of identity that I would take.
What kind of identity do you take?
Well, you're saying that the fetus organism there.
Oh, like okay, sorry, not turn into a person, produce a person, I should say. Like.
So what type of? I mean, any other like developing organism, pretty much. But
wait,
I guess yeah.
Wait,
like a cow organism.
You think cows are people?
No, when I say I mean, okay. Oh, I mean, I guess if you just want to like specify it down to people or like personhood, then yeah, obviously it's like pretty much only humans, like pretty much.
Yeah, yeah. So only like I just want to like, okay, yeah, okay, yeah. Cows are people. My bad, goat. But it's like okay,
my bad, Nick.
Only like look, it's like okay, even if I grant that, like that, okay, maybe cows are people, right? Only cows. Yeah, I just want to specify like only fetuses are the fetuses are the only type of beings which have what's it called? Fetuses are the only type of beings which have the capability of producing human people, right? And
do you think we just value the potential to like be born? Say just
no, we value like specific type of like we value specific type of entities, I should say.
No, obviously we value humans, but what we value about humans, or the potential that we value with developing humans, like for example, the potential we value with children, that would just be simply distinct from the potential of fucking growing up and like being bigger, like the ability for your body, like without the sensation of pleasure or warmth, to be in a hot bath, for example. Like obviously that's not what we value. What we value there is the ability of the person to actually bear some kind of positive experience. Now, if you don't think that the fetus itself would grow into a person, or the experiences of any given person is the future experiences of any given fetus that they were before, then it just simply isn't the case that we would value the potential of the fetus to grow into, an adult.
Wait, can you repeat all of that really quickly?
Yeah, sure. Simply, I mean, in a nutshell, if okay, so the definition of like future-like hours, obviously not like using just strict future-like hours, but it's basically x at a time t has a future-like hours if and only if x exists at t and x exists for some period of time after t, during which x has valuable experiences that make X life.
Hold on, I thought you were an animalist. Wait, okay, maybe I'm wrong, or maybe you changed your view, but I thought you were an animalist. So under your view, like, or under your view of personal identity, don't you also think that you're the same like person as you were when you were a fetus?
Well, I do generally, yes, but for the sake of the conversation, since I'm defending the time relativity, that would be heavily implied by the psychological theory then.
Wait, okay, so.
But hold on.
You hold to psychological continuity?
You asked me to repeat it. I'm going to repeat it.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
Basically, in a nutshell, if you're going to be, like, obviously we value potential, but what we seem to value potential for is not going to be
potential for good experiences. Yes.
Okay, great, yeah. It's not the potential for your body to grow into, like, bigger muscles or grow into a bigger skeleton. It's the potential to it's not the potential of your body, like your body cells touching warm water. Like it's the potential to actually feel or actually get some kind of positive experiences from touching warm water. Now, if you're saying, okay, this fetus has some kind of potential that we're valuing there, then presumably you'd be saying, okay, my experiences now, or any sort of adult's experience now, or any kid's experiences now, at this present time, were the future experiences of the fetus in the womb.
Yeah, well,
So
that would be implied by animalism, no?
Yeah, but that's kind of the controversial part. I'm not sure
Yeah.
if you can argue for animalism.
Yeah, okay. My question is, look, because the only way I think like you can properly resolve these personal identity sort of conversations is like, which if we just compare which one of them leads to at least like a sort of entailment, which either a could create like an unclarity where we are unable to determine whether like what makes you the same person over time, or b it just leads to like really absurd like reductives or really absurd commitments, like take the teleportation case or something like that, right? Like on the ship of Theseus case. So what sort of personal identity case are you like committing to?
Well, under my account, I just say, I mean, this would just go in tandem with the account of harm we're using, which is a time relative interest account. It'd just be the psychological theory of personal identity.
Psychological
or, any sort
continuity.
of flavor. Again, if you want to, yeah, it just be examined in your psychological continuity with your past and future self, and that would be examined in like any sort of
Yeah,
connections.
I have a whole bunch of issues with psychological continuity as
Wait,
a
hold on, but
theory.
that's not like, hold on, that's not really what we're supposed to be on right now. You're saying, okay,
No,
the fetus has like this sort of valuable potential.
no,
Like,
no, okay. I'll say
that the
this.
potential there
Look,
with these sort of fetuses.
if you are an animalist, right, or like say if animalism leads to the like least horrible entailments compared to the like personal identity theory you're holding, right? Then we would say that okay, under an animalist view, like you are harming the fetus in the sense that there is a future person there which you are depriving of positive experiences, right? And
Well, oh, sorry, even if we're both wrong, like let's say I'm horribly wrong about personal identity, and you're horribly wrong about personal identity, we both have terrible entailments. That still doesn't grant you the argument though.
no,
That
wait,
says,
I'm
okay,
saying like what's it called?
animals would explain this slightly better, but doesn't mean that you're right. We're trying to say that the argument is actually right here.
Yeah, no, wait. But if animalism explains it better compared to the two theories that we're arguing, then surely the one we're more rationally justified than following is the one which leads to the least crazy entailment, right?
But
Regardless
that's the
of which
thing,
one is
right? It doesn't
actually right.
establish this is the right theory. That's the thing. It doesn't establish this is the right theory. I already told you why I think it'd be some kind of entailment of your position to say, okay, animalism is true, actually, not just like the less irrational position. Like that's super, like just weird to
Yeah,
say.
no. I'm
It has to
saying
be,
like what's it called?
I must be like
One of the signs of having the true because like one of the signs of having a true personal identity theory is that out of all of these sort of like crazy entailments that this view may have, right, this one at least there is no like entailment which is either a crazy or b like comparatively it's just like extremely more intuitive compared to all of the other ones, right? Like those are the sort of signs we'd look for. So like
that's what we would reduce down to like the more favorable theory. But like you said, I can like let's say we come to a point where you justify yourself and say, okay, the psychological theory is false. Then I can literally scrap my argument and just become a fucking nihilist about personal identity. And you still be wrong.
if you become a nihilist about personal identity, like I mean, I guess then the sort of response you gave to the common patient case, which is that oh yeah, well there was a person there in the past, and this person we've known that this like that they can have future experiences, or we know that they can have good experiences. Oh yeah, I'm about to go in a second, but like we know that they can have good experiences. It's like that whole thing would fall through, and then you no longer have any justification as to why we shouldn't kill people in comas, right?
Yeah, that's cool. But I already told you, like, I can't. That's why I'm not scrapping it yet. But I'm just saying, in the case I do, in the case like you just convince me, and you show me that my intuitions are actually this and that, whatever. Like, I can be in very good faith and actually concede, and still you'd be fucking wrong. That's kind of the point. You're saying like something that something that's presupposed in your argument has to be actually true. That's what a presupposition is.
Yeah, okay, I know that. Like, I'm just saying what's it called? whenever you say, for example, a person actually, I'll say this last thing before I need to go do these dishes. But whenever you try and look for a true personal identity position, right? What the sort of indicators you have, right, to determine whether or not it's true? Because it isn't as if we're looking for some empirical, like some empirics to determine whether or not it's true. Like, so what sort of thing are you looking for?
So I'm just looking for. I mean that's a good question. Presumably, I feel like since the question of personal identity is like you said, it can't really be proven when you sort of externalist empirics. It'd be rather proven with how we kind of perceive ourselves.
Yeah.
What's more aligned with our perception of ourselves over time.
Yeah.
Now, given that answer, I feel like it's just our intuitions and what boils down with our intuitions.
Yeah, so if it boils down to our intuitions, then do you not think that the one which aligns with our intuitions the most is
Sorry,
more
you cut
likely
out?
to be
Or
right?
maybe I cut out. Sorry, you
Yes.
cut out.
Okay, hello, am I still cutting out?
No, you're good.
Yeah, I'm saying like, okay, well, the fact that it doesn't, that one theory aligns more with our intuitions compared to the other one, even if like there may be some divergence, right? The fact that one aligns with them more would be good evidence that it's true compared to the other ones, right? So even if I'm unable to like prove it that it's true 100% for certain, right? Yeah, it's only a matter of time. But even if I'm like unable to prove it 100% for certain, I at least would still say that I have like stronger evidence towards my theory being true than you have on the contrary. But anyways, I need to go do these dishes.
Wait, hold on. Okay, just before you go, can you please send me the back right now?
Sure.